Oklahoma State and Arkansas coachless. Oklahoma materialist. UCLA, they're still winless. We are in week 6, folks, of college football. Welcome to the Midweek College Football Breakdown. I'm the AntMan up top, Brandon Stevens down low. Dalton Miller, guys, welcome back. I was absent this week. Oklahoma had a bye week, so I had a bye week. Busy doing some other things. You guys were diving head first, though, into some games, which we're going to hit here. First, I want to start, obviously, with Oklahoma. In the news we have that John Mateer is going to be out for at least a couple of games, having had surgery. What we saw, successful surgery on his right hand, his throwing hand. What does Michael Hawkins Jr. need to do to prep for his venture as the starting quarterback? Just one game at a time? Brandon, start with you.
Yeah, definitely need to just take one game at a time. And hopefully, from the sounds of sports talk radio in Oklahoma area, hopefully they can just move right in. I mean, they talked so big about him last year, how he was so good, even in spring ball with Jackson Arnold there. And they felt like he was the better quarterback. But we all are convinced, or I am at least convinced, I think we've talked about this before on the show, but I'm convinced that he only got relegated to second team because Jackson Arnold was a 5-star and was the number one guy coming out of high school and
making all the money.
So yeah, making all the money. So I'm just convinced that he really is the better quarterback of the two. And so he needs to take it one game at a time. Sounds like we'll be getting, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but sounds like we'll be getting Giovanni Gibson, the transfer in that is going to hopefully make huge strides. And we just need to take it one game at a time. A little bit of running game. It would be nice to establish a running game. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, if you establish a running game against Kent State, that doesn't mean anything because Kent State is one of the worst teams in FBS football right now. Literally one of the worst teams. We'll talk about that a little more when we get there because I have some stats. But, they're awful. They're awful. And I agree. If we can run the ball against them, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I want to see some success in that. And if Michael Hawkins can have some success, leading the offense with a good running game going on, then I think we'll be good.
Dalton, let me ask you, as Michael Hawkins prepares for this game, and knowing the prestige and everything that goes in and the rivalry of Oklahoma, Texas, which is just the week after, and he doesn't know at this very second if he's going to be the quarterback for that game, how does he not, look past Kent State and try to look ahead for that game in Dallas?
Yeah, I think that word prepared is really important when you talk about Michael Hawkins Jr., because I think he's been preparing for this moment, the one that's right here in front of him, ever since he stepped on campus, whether it be the games that he got last year, whether it be the first day that he got to be in the quarterback room with both Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer. He just seems like a really level-headed guy who is in there to be a sponge and to learn and to soak in everything that he gets. And I think that Arbuckle is going to be the type of coach that uses his athletic ability and his running ability to Oklahoma's offensive advantage, right? So we will see success, I think, against Kent State. I am not one that believes that means it's going to translate to Texas, but I don't think that he's worried about OU Texas right now. I think that he is looking forward to taking the start on Saturday and leading Oklahoma to a victory and running this Oklahoma offense with the ones for the first time truly under Ben Arbuckle in a scripted offense in the first quarter of the game. That's the moment that he's looking forward to. He doesn't cross me as the type of guy that gets nervous. I mean, you go back to last year on the road at Auburn, takes off first series for over a 50-yard touchdown run. It was like closer to 70, I think. I think he's a gamer. And now you put him in a position with an offensive coordinator that's going to play to his strengths and to his advantage. And so we saw success against Temple running the ball. I know we'll see success against Kent State running the ball, which is why I'm like, it may not translate to Texas. But what's important, I think, is just getting him opportunities with the ones, getting a chance for him to honestly, if this injury was going to happen, I'm glad it happened before the bye week. so that Michael Hawkins' first game is not Red River and all those emotions and everything that come with that. So I'm
He's
really excited to see him play.
He's been there in that situation where one of his first big games was OU Texas, and we saw how that turned out. So I am stoked that he's getting this with the new offense and with the new offensive coordinator and actually having a quarterbacks coach. I think it's going to be big. So, I guess seeing is believing, but
we know that he can run the ball, and we know since we had success against Temple, we will have success on the ground against Kent State. I'm actually more anxious to see what's his deep ball look like. What does he look like making progressions and reads and reading a defense? We know he can run the ball, and we know we're going to run the ball against Kent State. And I know that that's opposite of everything we've said. We want to see us run, establish a run game. Honestly, I'm ready to see this dude throw the ball.
Right.
Well, a couple of the things, or one of the things they really talked about today on one of the shows I was listening to on the franchise is they think Michael Hawkins Jr. throws a better intermediate and long ball than John Mateer. More accurate, got an absolute rocket, it sounds like. Seeing is believing for me, but you're right. John Mateer was number one in the Heisman, or was leading the Heisman thoughts. It's way too early, but
here's the thing. Those same people said that Jackson Arnold was strides ahead of Michael Hawkins Jr. last year. Yes, they did. In the spring,
no, they didn't.
They said it wasn't even close.
They all said Jackson Arnold seems to have problems getting through progressions and making throws, and they didn't understand why Michael Hawkins Jr. was not starting.
Listen, he's different people. Because everybody,
and you ain't listening to the franchise because they were all talking about it. They did not.
Jackson Arnold,
it was the right decision.
Even Parker Thune had a tweet where he was made a statement. Jackson Arnold is not the thrower that we thought he was.
Yeah,
which is funny because he's actually throwing the ball decent with Auburn. I don't know if he's just gotten better, but he's having 250-yard games. He
is. He's just holding on to the ball too long. He can't make a decision because he's afraid to make a mistake.
Well, he went from one team with no offensive line to another team with no offensive line. Yeah, so that doesn't help.
Exactly.
Hawkins did lead to a nice win against Auburn last year, and it's been really fun this week reliving that call with Joe Tessitore calling running for the touchdown. That's really a lot of fun. Be great to see what he does. Obviously, like you were saying, Dalton, kind of a little more play here for Michael Hawkins too, where knows that you can predicts that you can probably run when you need to, but play around a little bit with some of the receivers just to kind of get some practice in and some real world situations. We'll talk more about Oklahoma coming up here in just a bit. Time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I want to start with you, Dalton, on Oregon versus Penn State. Oregon, the underdog, coming out with a big win and a whiteout.
Yeah, I thought Oregon was going to win this game, and then they take a 17-3 lead, and I'm thinking, man, they really have a chance to step on this. I thought the good was Dante Moore. That man delivered 29 for 39, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then the game winner to Gary Bryant Jr. He gets the good for me. That can't be an easy stadium to go in there and have success like that as a QB. Just to be able to even hear because it's so loud and make those reads. And just, I feel like the perception of seeing everything too, and it's that wideout is not like any other wideout in the country. So he gets the good for me. The bad is Oregon blowing the 17-3 lead in the fourth quarter. You had a 2-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter. And when you get a chance to put Happy Valley to death and they're quiet, and that's your chance to not let them back in the game. And in the fourth quarter, they just erupt. I think that you got to find a way in those moments on the road to put teams down. And we've talked about that a lot in the Lincoln Riley era. Well, the fourth quarter offense just gets stagnant and one big play lets a team back in it. It was really tough for me to find an ugly in this one, but I had to go with Drew Aller. He's in a big game like this. It was his first time he didn't throw this season for 200 yards. So he had 200 yards passing in every game except for this one. He finishes with 137 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And I know that they fought back. Credit to them. There was a lot of resilience in that comeback. But if you're going to win these big games, I feel like this is why Penn State for me is always in that like second tier of the Big Ten. It's because they can't quite get to Ohio State and Michigan's level. They can't quite win these big games. And your quarterback can't throw for 137 yards at home, prime time. You don't hardly ever get prime time when you're the biggest game of the day on Fox. And of course, they were on NBC. I still don't understand how. But you got a chance now in front of everybody, and your quarterback lays an egg. Again, 2 touchdowns, great. And I know they fought back. But if he's a little bit more productive in the first 3 quarters of the game, I think that you see a different outcome here.
B, same one for you.
Bro, we're almost identical here. The good is Dante Moore. I mean, 29 for 39, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, had 10 carries for 35 yards. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but there were 3 third and medium yardage situations that he ran and got the first down. That being said, their offense did sputter quite a bit in this game for Oregon, but it was a gritty win, pulling out the road win in double overtime in that crazy whiteout environment.
Yeah.
And Dante Moore has to be my good. The bad is the same exact thing as Dalton. Oregon allowed Penn State to close a 14-point deficit in the last 10 minutes of the game. Penn State had outgained Oregon 142 yards to 71 yards in the last 15 minutes of regulations. Once Penn State tied it up, I thought it was a no-brainer that they were going to end up winning in overtime because that crowd, 111,000 strong, just was raucous at home in the whiteout. And the ugly for me is Drew Aller and Penn State's offense. I mean, frankly, they were brutal for very long stretches. Until the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter, they only had 189 yards of offense before mounting that late push and scoring those 2 touchdowns late, and then the inability to close out. I mean, Drew Aller throws a pick on the first play of the second overtime. I mean, it's just kind of a painful sounding habit for Penn State, like Dalton said. I mean, there always seemed to be that second tier. I mean, you had the crowd chanting, fire Franklin, all that kind of stuff. I mean,
What?
Yeah, I mean, he's not been good.
They get that way after every big game loss.
Yeah.
But he's only like 4-17 against top 10 teams. I don't know that that's the exact quote or the exact stat, but he's only like 4-17 against top 10 teams or top 15 teams, whatever it is, at home. Like, you got to be better than that at home in the Big Ten. And I get it. I get the fans being frustrated, but to me, it's kind of like the Ryan Day stuff. Who are they going to go and get to come into Penn State,
Mike Gundy.
and throw a fit? Last year, Ohio State fans, hire Mike Gundy. Let's see how that works out for you. Last year, Ohio State fans were throwing a fit after the loss to Michigan, and what happened? They win the Natty. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's just, it does seem like they're way too much on the raw end of a game like this, and they got to win those games at home.
A little random, but I interviewed Franklin when he was at Vandy when I worked in Nashville. They were terrible, and they were trying to get some people in the stands, and they came on a radio show. Yeah, like,
nice.
I don't know who this is. Now he's yeah, exactly.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Hotty Toddy rolled into Death Valley, which was odd because not that they went there, but that LSU was the underdog in this game. Ole Miss coming out on top. B, I'll stay with you for the good and bad and the ugly on this one.
Yeah, this one hurt me a little bit because this was my master lock, picking LSU plus the 3.5 at home with Ole Miss coming in. But, man, the good for me is Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, that kid, he's not the starting quarterback. Austin Simmons is a starting quarterback, but he's hurt. And then I think he could have played this game, but for whatever reason, they started Trinidad Chambliss, who ended up with 314 yards passing and 1 touchdown. He also ran for 71 yards, but he led the offense to 480 total yards against a defense that was giving up less than 250 in the first 4 games of the season. I mean, I said that last week. LSU doesn't give up big plays. They don't melt down. That's why I'm picking them. Man, they almost Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss almost doubled the total yardage that LSU's been giving up. The bad, I'm going to stay with Ole Miss on the bad. The penalties in this game were ridiculous. They had 14 penalties for 109 yards. LSU had 7 for 78 yards. That's not good either, but it was just a really undisciplined game overall as far as that goes. I mean, just neither team seemed to buckle down and play clean. They just couldn't do it. And the ugly, for me, is LSU's rushing game. It was abysmal. 21 rushes for 59 yards. In the words of Charles Barkley, that is terrible. And right at half of what their average was, they're not averaging a ton. They're averaging 170 or almost 170 something yards a game on the ground. But no, that's not right. I can't remember what it was now because 170 is not right because that'd be 3 times. But, I mean, 2.8 yards a carry. You ain't going to win very many SEC games against good opponents, especially one like Ole Miss who's going to roll up, 480 yards on you. I mean, you gotta get control of that rushing game.
104 yards per game.
104. So, yeah, a little bit less. So they got a little bit more than half of what they normally get. But 104 yards a game still isn't good. But, I mean, 21 rushes for 59 yards with a 2.8 average is awful. That's the ugly for me.
GBU for you, Dalton.
Yeah. This game started out Ole Miss punt, LSU punt, Ole Miss punt, and then LSU first play of their second possession hits a 50-yard pass. And then a few more plays later, they cap the drive off with a touchdown. You're thinking, man, this is where LSU is going to really run them. They get the big plays, the explosive plays. Grant Nussmeier, Heisman hopeful, and then the defense just responds. So the good for me is Ole Miss defense held LSU to just 256 total yards. They had only 1 sack, but they had 8 quarterback hurries and 9 pressures on Grant Nussmeier, all while almost the entire game going with a 3-man front. They brought some different blitz packages. They sent some different guys into the box, out of the box. They were, mixing things up. But I mean, they shut the run game down like Unc was just talking about. They didn't even have they have the defensive alignment that I can't stand because, of course, Oklahoma never can run that. But the good definitely has to go to Ole Miss defense for me. And then just the opposite, the bad is LSU's offense. I mean, their run game, like Unc said, 59 total rushing yards. Mm-hmm. Crazy. You got to find ways to run the ball. They barely rushed for over 100 yards in a couple of their games. But if they can't establish the run in big games, it's going to be really hard to win. They barely won against Clemson, a 1-score game. They beat Florida, who's not great this year, by 10. Could not establish the run. You don't establish it against Ole Miss, you end up winning. Or losing. So that definitely came back to haunt them. And then for me, the ugly in this game just overall was penalties, like Unc mentioned. Ole Miss is 14 penalties for 109 yards. LSU's 7 penalties for 78 yards. It's just ugly football. But Ole Miss found a way to win it.
Alabama not used to being the underdog, at least in recent years. They were this weekend, but it's crazy. They came out on top against Georgia. Good, bad, and the ugly. Starting with you, Dalton.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ty Simpson and just the Alabama team who just had a lot to prove under DeBauer. I mean, he was 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He found 8 different wide receivers on the night, and he snapped Georgia's 33-game home win streak. So they get the good for me. The bad is Georgia's 3rd down efficiency on offense. Gunnar Stockton wasn't great on the night, but he's usually just a good game manager. I mean, they still rushed for 270 yards rushing, something like that. Their offense was able to move the ball in a game that we would expect from an Alabama, Nick Saban Alabama versus a Kirby Smart Alabama. I mean, just a back and forth, physical football game. Georgia's able to run the ball, but they were 2 for 8 on 3rd downs in a 3-point game. If they execute some of those drives, continue to move, you might find yourself in a different situation at the end of some of those drives. And the ugly, I kind of mentioned it. It's just you lost to a team that was down. I mean, this Alabama program was ready to let go of DeBauer, and these fans were done with him, trying to figure out what's going on with this team post Nick Saban. And then he just comes in and gets the win of the century for Alabama after Nick Saban era, and Georgia's 33 home win game snapped. It was a tough battle between the two. So I don't think Georgia played great football. It's hard for me to say that the ugly was Gunnar Stockton, because he's really just a game manager anyways. He's not this throw for 300 yards on you type of guy, but you got to find a way to win at home against an Alabama team who has not been the same Alabama for a couple years.
Yeah. Brandon, your thoughts on this game?
I mean, my good is same as Dalton, as Ty Simpson. I mean, Ty Simpson was really good in this game. 24 for 28 for 276 yards and a touchdown, also adding a touchdown on the ground. And the Bama offense controlled the clock in this game, running 77 plays to only 53 for Georgia. They ran the clock out once they got the ball back in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes and 19 seconds left. And Georgia had all three of their timeouts, but Bama was still able to get the first downs when they needed to, run the clock out, and Bama won the time of possession by over 11 minutes. I mean, just overall, the time of possession thing, that doesn't normally happen against a Kirby Smart led defense, but Bama's offense was very efficient, and they still, barely won. I mean, I go to the bad now. I have a bad for both teams, actually. And one of them is more just an annoyance. But the bad for Bama is they let Georgia get back into this game. They just couldn't close them out in the second half. I mean, they were up 10 at halftime. They come out and have a 10-play yard, try to kick a 49-yard field goal, and they miss. And then after that, they just went stagnant for a while. And they only had 111 more yards after the first possession of the second half, which is not going to win you very many games against Georgia. But Alabama's defense just stepped up to the game. My kind of annoyance, 3 minutes left in the third quarter, Gunnar Stockton throws a gorgeous seam route, maybe a skinny post, right up the hash to a wide open Taylor Taylor. Would have been a walk-in 50-yard touchdown, and the ball is right in his hands, hits both of his hands, and he just drops it. I get that drops happen. They just can't happen at that point in the game against an Alabama.
Reminded me so much of in the playoff against Notre Dame.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Wide open passes, just can't bring them in.
Yeah. I mean, I understand drops happen. Everybody's human. That's just a massive mistake at that point in the game. And that would have completely changed the complexion of that game, because that puts Georgia in the lead at that point. And now Bama's having to play from behind, and Bama's offense wasn't that good in the second half. So, I mean, that was big. The ugly for me, it was kind of hard. Like you said, it was kind of hard for me to find an ugly in this game. I'm going to go with Kirby Smart's record against Alabama as a head coach at Georgia now. He's 1-7 against Alabama as a head coach at Georgia. His only win was the 22 championship game where they won 33-18. Obviously, you said it earlier, Dalton. This game snapped their 33-game home winning streak. That was the largest in the country at that point. But it just –
Did you – correct me if I'm wrong on this. Did you hear them say on Saturday, too, that this was Alabama's first time in Georgia, because this game is usually neutral site?
Under Kirby Smart, it definitely is.
Under Kirby Smart. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's under Kirby Smart. I mean, they used to play home and home series a lot, but they do play a lot of what do they call that? Neutral site.
Neutral site, yeah.
Yeah, neutral site games, and they typically play them in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the first time that Kirby Smart has played Alabama between the hedges, which is crazy to think. But he's only 1-7 against them. They asked him about it in the post-game interview, and he's like, I'm not losing sleep over it. And he said it very nonchalantly, like it wasn't like a stress that I'm not losing sleep. But it was just, I'm not losing sleep over it. I mean, I beat him 1 time out of 7. That 1 time was for a natty. So I don't know, but he's got to figure out a way to get it done. I wonder how bad they wish they still had Carson Beck. I'm It's kind of curious to me. Carson Beck is balling at Miami right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the way that Gunnar Stockton got the job anyways, Carson Beck was winning games. He wasn't losing. He had the injury. And then they stuck with Gunnar Stockton. And now that Gunnar is just playing very mundane, like it's just not.
You said it earlier, he's just a game manager.
Is he going to say, all right, we've got to go to somebody who can, because if you rush for 277 yards, you'd like to think that, and again, you can't help the drop pass. That's not on Gunnar Stockton, but
sure. That was a perfect pass.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes me think, we've seen Kirby make those tough decisions in the future. Or in the past. And so what's he going to do moving forward? Because he's not here to lose football games. And so if he feels like it's time to move on from Gunnar in midseason, he will, because Carson Beck didn't even lose the job, really. He just had an injury, and he was winning games.
Absolutely.
One left. Illinois, the underdog at home against USC, and they pull it out. They win against our friend out west, being nice, family friendly. Brandon.
That boy out west.
Sure.
The good for me is the offensive bounce back by Illinois, period. After having just a 161-yard offering the week before against Indiana and getting smashed in that game, they rushed for only 2 yards in that game. Quarterback Luke Altmaier was crazy efficient, 21 for 27, 331 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Game-winning drive, had a really good execution and clock management skills for Altmaier. He got him down in there, ended up getting a 41-yard field goal kick by David Olano, I think is how you say his name. But that's the good for me. The bad was this game could have been a lot worse because Illinois fumbled twice in the red zone. One of them was on the 2-yard line and lost the possession to USC, or they'd have had another touchdown there and maybe another touchdown on the other fumble, at least a field goal on the other fumble. They got to take control of the ball. They had several turnovers against Indiana the week before, so they really got to start figuring out how to hold on to the ball. The ugly was just really both defenses in this game, which we expect from a Lincoln Riley defense, but both defenses in this game gave up almost 1,000 yards, 992 yards.
Big
USC's offense was 4 for 5 on fourth down and scored on all 5 of their red zone visits. It's just going to be tough sledding for either one of these teams in the Big Ten if you can't stop anybody, because they're not going to just go outscore people. So, it was kind of the perfect matchup for both of these teams to have this game. Hopefully they can, get the shit straightened out and get things right going forward. Otherwise, they're not going to win a whole lot more games.
And Mom, that was the ship straightened out, just so you know.
I did say the ship. That's what I meant to say.
You did. I was just clarifying. Okay. It was fast. I didn't get the ship straightened out. So to make sure. Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Knew. Dalton, what do you got?
Really similar. Luke Altmaier was a dog in this game, though. He gave you the stats, and then just their poise to execute on the 51-yard drive to set up Olano's game-winning field goal. This is your typical Big 12 football game, and it's the last team that has it wins, and that was Illinois. So props to them on the bounce back. It did
definitely feel like a Big 12 game.
Yeah, it's exactly the style of football that Lincoln Riley plays out west. Mm-hmm. So, and the bad is just USC, once again, unable to finish on the defensive end and close out a game. They scored with under 2 minutes to go to take the lead. I actually read an article where he got knocked for his game management for scoring too quickly. I don't really know how I feel about that, because at the end of the day, you're going to take the points if you get the points. But
absolutely,
you also got to know who your defense is. It's a defense that gets scored on. And at this point, they had already had 300 yards passing. So you got to close games out. And USC had to be the team in this game that had the ball at the end if they were going to win it, with how good Illinois' offense was. And then the ugly is just kind of all in one. It was undisciplined football from LSU, which we're used to seeing under Lincoln Riley. The bad and the ugly kind of meshed together. I really just think it's a typical game for USC, and those fans out there are used to it by now. Moving on from him, and I won't pick him again. Gosh dang it.
Saturday Sooners are back in action. White helmets, red stripes down the middle. Classic throwback uniforms this weekend. MHJ under center. Keys to OU continuing their momentum through a week that could lead people to overlook Kent State. Brandon, starting with you on this one.
I mean, this Kent State defense is giving up 541 yards a game.
Yeah.
You just, I mean, their points against is 176. That's 135 out of 136 FBS teams. Their points for is 122nd out of 136. So, I mean, this should honestly be a, 63-0 game.
Right.
We got to keep the turnovers away. It would be nice to finally get a turnover or two.
Yeah.
Against somebody. We're still the only team in FBS that has not forced a turnover yet this year. It would be nice to get a turnover or two. I want to see a little bit of running game established. Like we said earlier, I know it's Kent State, but still a little bit of the running game would be nice to get established. And then I just want to see MHJ be poised in the pocket. Mm-hmm. I want to see him feeling comfortable. I want to be feeling like he is comfortable. And, from the outside in, kind of just compartmentalizing everything he's going through into success on the field. So I know he knows that if John Mateer's back in a week or 2 weeks, or he is not the starting quarterback, but I think I want to see him really go out and take control of this game, and I want to see our defense play clean.
That'd be great. And yeah, we've been right there, right on the edge of some turnovers that just haven't fallen our way. Dalton,
we're so close. Okay, Lincoln Riley.
So close.
I couldn't help it.
Unbelievable. I don't have a ton else to say. I mean, it's businesslike. I want to see us do exactly what we did against Temple. Don't start slow. Take care of the ball on offense. I mean, of course, like I said earlier, I want to establish a run game. But again, it doesn't mean anything to me if we establish a run game. Us running against Kent State does not tell me that we will run the ball well against Texas. So, I mean, we've said it all year. Seeing is going to be believing in that game, because we've seen us run against Temple and we can't run against anybody else. And then when we did have, our best rusher was John Mateer through our biggest games, Michigan, Auburn, those type of things. So Michael Hawkins Jr. is going to be an athlete. He's going to make plays. But like I said, I'm ready to see him sling it. I'm ready to see him, throw the football and make some connections with these wide receivers and tight ends, Jaren Kanak. Defensively, it's just play disciplined football. Do what we've done. I mean, there's really no trick to this weekend.
The talk around the running game this week or today on the radio was this is probably Jaden Ott's last chance to prove that he's worth anything. And I know it's against Kent State, but they're like, if you can't do it against Kent State, you're not doing it against anybody. You're probably sitting on the bench. That's kind of the talk about it. And I mean, I'm kind of done with him, honestly, already. I don't know if his injury from last year is in his head. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know what's going on, but it just hadn't seemed to click for him. So I'm ready to ride with the freshman. I love
How many total carries does he have, though?
Not a ton.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
He has 9 total carries on the season. So again, I don't disagree with you. I'm a Blaylock guy, but I just, how can you ever judge a guy when you say he's not the guy in Norman? He was given 9 chances against an offensive line that no running back has produced really hardly anything.
9 chances in a game. He's been given opportunities, I would guess, in practice, and maybe he's not showing out in practice.
But again, we don't ever let a running back. I mean, our John Mateer still has the most carries on our team. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we're a team that says we're going to have a featured back and we're going to let a guy go. I mean, he was good at Cal for a reason. He was able to get touches. It takes time to get a rhythm. So, I mean, we see what Gavin Sawchuk's doing at Florida State.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So our run game frustrates me. And I'm to the point where I am wondering what's going on with, like, do we need to start having everybody last year wanted to blame the higher ups, but like, how much say does DeMarco Murray have in who's rotating in at running back? How much say does Ben Arbuckle, or not Ben Arbuckle, but Bill Bedenbaugh have in the run game scheme? Because it's not working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I get a little frustrated when I hear people, Jaden Ott's not good. He's touched the ball 9 times against an offense, or with it behind an offensive line who hasn't produced a run game for anybody, really. Blaylock, he hits the hole hard. We've seen that, and he runs dudes over. I love Blaylock. I want Blaylock to be our featured back. Don't get me wrong. I'm fine if they say we're not going to go with Ott. But don't throw Ott in for 3 runs against Kent State and say, well, if you don't produce on these 3 runs, then you're not good, or you're not the guy. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I'm just saying that's the talk so far, or that's the talk that they're talking about. Like, and maybe it is a practice thing. Maybe it's a practice thing. Maybe it's an attitude thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a personality. I don't know what it is, but I was stoked when we signed him because I went back and watched all his highlights from Cal, and he was unbelievable. And so I was really excited. I really had high hopes for him. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the game where he comes out and has something happen. But a lot of that, like you said, falls on the blocking schemes.
Yeah.
And but why would, I mean, Blaylock should be the back in the first half. No doubt about it.
I agree. I mean, Torrey Blaylock's been the guy this year.
He should have minimum 10 carries in the first half.
Yeah. No doubt.
But I'm not convinced he will.
No, because they're going to put Javonte Barnes in, and they're going to put Xavier Robinson in.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm just like, I have no reason to believe that.
You're exactly right. I'll be shocked if he has 10 carries, because Javonte Barnes is going to get 3 or 4 and run right into somebody's butt while they're blocking. And Xavier Robinson's going to get a few, and that kid runs tough. I love watching that kid run too.
Look at him dominate Alabama last year, and then we didn't go back to under center at all. Like our run scheme makes no sense, and our style of run makes no sense. Our substitutions make no sense. I mean, I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see on Saturday. Hopefully somebody breaks out and has a 150-yard rushing game. That'd be nice.
That'd be nice. Out of all the picks last week, including Master Lock, Brandon, you got 1. Dalton, you got 3. You allowed him to catch up just a little bit, narrowing that gap. 35-33, Brandon still in the lead, though. Let's get the picks kicked off this week. Texas traveling to Florida, 2:30 on ESPN. Brandon, who you got?
Oh, Texas. Florida's done. Florida's awful. And I mean, I'm not saying Texas is crazy good or anything. I'm still not sold on Arch Manning, but I mean, they're going to roll into the swamp and do some damage.
Dalton.
Yeah, I think that Texas's defense is what's going to carry them. I still don't know how good Arch Manning is going to be, but they're still the better team in my opinion. So give me Texas over Florida.
Texas A&M staying home versus a 4-1 Mississippi State, 6:30 on the SEC network. Dalton, who you got?
I will say I'm shocked that Mississippi State has the start that they have, but I'm still going with Texas A&M.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Levy's doing a good job so far. Levy's doing a good job, but Texas A&M.
Here's one to contemplate a little bit, just because of current situations. Vanderbilt traveling to Alabama, 2:30 on ABC. Brandon?
Man. I mean, I'm gonna go with Alabama. I think they're playing better. Ty Simpson is playing really good right now. I hope it's Vanderbilt. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I love the.
Okay.
I love the Diego Pavia story. I love what he's brought to that school, but I think it's going to be Alabama.
Dalton.
I'm picking Alabama, but if Vanderbilt wins, I want whatever fans are in that stadium to take Alabama's goalposts to the river in Nashville.
Right.
Well, first, you got to do what they did last year. They took it to the bars first. They stopped at all the bars and then went to
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Got to do that. All right, Dalton, staying with you for the first pick on this one. Miami headed north to Florida State, primetime 6:30 on ABC. Ooh.
Yeah, I think I just can't pick against Carson Beck right now in Miami. Florida State's a good team. I don't think that a loss here necessarily means that they're out. I haven't seen how the ACC necessarily plays out for who's going to meet in the championship game, but this is one I'd like to see 2 times this year. But give me Miami to go on the road and find a way to get it done.
Brandon.
Man, I mean, I'm probably leaning the same way. I think Florida State was in a horrible spot for a trap game last week, and they got caught. But, I mean, Carson Beck just has that offense rolling right now, and I don't know that Florida State's going to be able to keep up with them. I'm going to go Miami, too.
2 undefeateds at the Big 12, Texas Tech versus Houston, 6 p.m. on ESPN. Brandon?
Give me Tech. I've been rolling with them. I don't know if Baron Morton or if Will Howard is playing, but that offense is clicking right now. I'm not sure how good Houston really is. Yes, they're undefeated. I'm just not sure that they're any good. I'm going with Texas Tech.
Dalton?
They're not good. They beat Stephen F. Austin Wright and a very bad Oregon State in overtime, and Colorado, who's not good. So, yeah, Texas Tech.
See if the tortillas make it to Houston. Clemson versus North Carolina, 11 o'clock on ESPN. Dalton?
Neither of these teams are any good.
It's a toilet bowl. What do you think?
I think I'm still going to go with Clemson.
Okay.
Man, I really like Clemson, and I've picked them so many times. I kind of feel like if I pick against them here, maybe they'll turn it around a little bit. But North Carolina is just not any good. I feel like Clemson has so much more potential than North Carolina does. And if Clemson plays halfway to their potential, they're going to win it. So I got to go Clemson.
All right. Last one. Brandon, Wisconsin versus Michigan. Big noon kickoff, 11 o'clock on Fox.
Give me Michigan in this one. Bryce Underwood's been playing really good as of late. So I think his athletic ability is going to put Michigan over the top. I think Michigan wins this one.
Dalton?
Yeah, Michigan. Wisconsin is very boring this year. Like, this is not – I thought he was going to take some Cincinnati brand football up to Wisconsin and try and he's just not a Big Ten coach, in my opinion. Doesn't mesh well with that, like, smash mouth having to run the ball. That's not his style of offense, and it's not working. So I think Michigan probably even covers the 16.5 in this game.
No matter how those turn out, that did nothing for the difference between the two of you picking exactly.
Yeah, we both picked the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's move to the locks, and I'll start with you, Dalton.
Well, I mean, we've got to go with the Big 12, the team.
You loser.
And Rocco Beck. I mean, you have to. So plus 1.5 at Cincinnati. Sorry.
You would start with him after I told y'all my pick in pre-show.
Well,
don't tell the pick anymore. Sorry, I didn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, I won't.
Same for you.
Same thing. Yeah, I mean, I know Brendan Sorsby has been playing really good, the quarterback for Cincinnati. He's thrown for 1,043 yards, 10 touchdowns, only 1 interception on the season. But, I mean, Rocco Beck just seems to will his team to win. And I'd love the fire and the grit of this dude. It's got to be Iowa State to cover. Or no, I think Iowa State wins outright, but they're a plus 1.5. So
yeah,
I think Iowa State wins outright. So that's my lock for this week.
Cool. So next week it'll be the exact same difference.
Right? Yeah.
2 points, 2-point difference. But we'll see.
I'll still be winning by 2. That's fine.
Okay, you're good with that then.
That's fine. I'm good with that.
It'll be fun having the Sooners back on the field this Saturday because you kind of, and especially with the time, you set up the whole weekend. You got what you're doing in the morning, got the game time, and you got what you're doing in the evening. When you don't have a game, it's like, what should I do today?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of golf in Saturday morning, and get home in time for the game.
Nice.
And get home in time for the game. Roll the TV out by the pool and watch the game from the pool. That'll be great. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. And I mean, guys, you know what they say: the weekend is good. I messed that up. Okay,
just finish it all off. Do it all. We'll sit here and watch.
Guys, you know what they say, right?
The weekend is good,
but the midweek is always better.
And boom goes the dynamite.